Hello and welcome to this edition of ONTV News. I'm Ian Locke. On Tuesday, Americans looked back on the tragic events that took place 11 years ago that claimed the lives of almost 3,000 people and changed the world we live in. Those events reminded us of the life-threatening dangers that first responders face, police officers, firefighters, not just on September 11th, 2001, but every day since. On Tuesday evening, members of the community came together during an emotional ceremony held at the Orion Veterans Memorial on what is now known as Patriot Day. Dr. Joseph Master-Rateo, chairman of the Orion Veterans Memorial, greeted the attendees who filled the park on M24. Citizens, veterans, active military, police and fire gathered together for a ceremony filled with music and words that urged everyone to never forget. Lake Orion Police Chief Jerry Narsh recounted the death toll on that day 11 years ago and reminded everyone of the dangers that first responders face every day. He mentioned West Bloomfield police officer Patrick O'Rourke, who lost his life on duty just days earlier.
It has been 11 years. Can you believe it? 11 years. On a day exactly like today, a Tuesday, a sunny Tuesday, that America was once again reminded that even the greatest country on earth can be attacked. We are the greatest country on earth because of our ideals, our vision, and our freedom. But we are also reminded that for those same principles, we are hated. As a nation, we were jerked back to that reality, shaken from the blissful peace and tranquility we enjoy into a new reality of an ever-changing, dangerous, and hostile world. President George W. Bush designated September 11th as Patriot Day, the day to set aside and remember, reflect the events of that day and the precious lives lost. We gather here today in remembrance and to even celebrate the heroism and strength of the united people who can and do overcome such tragedies. As Americans, we have lived in this new existence for the past 11 years. We've watched as the USA has entered and fought 2 wars, identified and killed scores of terrorists, including the 9/11 mastermind himself, Osama bin Laden. And in so doing, we have lost thousands more American soldiers at the altar of freedom. As I was preparing these thoughts and words, it struck me that in a way, America is returning to normalcy. It's not that we do not respect and remember, we do, and we are here today. But it is human nature to heal, to resolve, to return to the quiet and peaceful enjoyment of our lives. Consider that 11 years after Pearl Harbor was attacked, the United States was in a new war in Korea facing a new world threat called communism. It is good that we have less anxiety about terrorism and more anxiety about dating, the new classes, or what to wear. Although we have a new sense of reality on the global terrorist threat, as Americans, we have settled into the comfort zones of this new reality and are better off for it. It is okay to relax and to want to return as a nation to building things, selling things, and planning our lives. But it is necessary that we come together and remember.
Just wonderful. Very proud of our community and all the volunteers that it took to put this together and to show our country how much we love it. The demonstration that you saw here, the people coming out and being here, that to me shows their patriotism, love of country, love of helping your neighbor, and those kind of things. We haven't forgotten what happened 11 years ago. We haven't forgotten the people who died. We haven't forgotten the families who survived. We haven't forgotten the people that are still confronted with pulmonary disease, cancer, and other life-threatening conditions.
It is a privilege to be here at the Veterans Memorial. What they have done in putting this together is incredible. I'm not sure that many communities can have such an incredible and solemn place that is here to recognize our military veterans, but also those who lose their lives fighting for America on our own soil. So we're privileged to be here today, and I'm just thankful and humbled to be a part of it.
Oh, it's just overwhelming. I'm so happy that these people come out here and that they do support us. It tells me that people still remember, and a lot of incidents people forget. They forget very soon, and I hope nobody ever forgets. And I hope 11 years from now we still see a crowd like this out here. So, no, it makes them more determined. I mean, they understand. It's I can't, I can lead them, I can tell them where to go and stuff like that. They're the ones that go in blindly, and whatever we send them into, and they know that could happen to them, whether it's a house or whether it's a World Trade Center. They may not make it out, but they do that because they have compassion for this community. They have compassion for their neighbors, and that's why they do it.
When the World Trade Center towers fell 11 years ago, many New York firefighters lost their lives in the disaster. But one heroic firefighter in particular has inspired an annual fundraising run that follows the path he took the moments before he lost his life trying to save others. Here in Orion Township, a 5K run took place on Saturday before Patriots Day to benefit the cause inspired by a real-life hero. Joe Johnson has the story.
On the morning of September 8th, walkers and runners gathered in Orion Township Civic Center Park for the start of the 2012 Tunnel to Towers Run. A brief ceremony prior to the start of the race welcomed participants. The township's fire department brought along a piece of the World Trade Center to remind participants of the origins of the run. The 5K race was just one of many that took place across the country, with the goal being to raise funds for the Stephen Siller Foundation and to send 2 local participants to the annual Tunnel to Towers race in New York, scheduled to take place on Sunday, September 30th.
The primary thing we're raising funds for today is to send 2 people from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Eric Snyder and Trevor Sanford. They're going to go out to New York City on our dime later this month to participate in another 5K. That one goes from the Battery Park Tunnel from Brooklyn up into Manhattan. So you go through the tunnel to the towers, to the Trade Towers site. And it follows in the footsteps of Stephen Siller, a New York firefighter who lost his life on 9/11 and actually ran with all 60 pounds of gear through that tunnel up to the Trade Towers to help out that day.
Michael Cooney is a New York firefighter. He came to Lake Orion to take part in the local race.
It raises funds for disabled veterans, disabled firefighters, disabled police officers, anybody who serves. They try to, especially amputees, and they try to build homes for them. So accessible homes where it makes life easier for the amputee.
Crossing the finish line first was Rochester resident Laura Smith with a time of 20:01. She told us her first place finish was especially satisfying considering she works in law enforcement.
It's just an excellent way to, help the people that were affected. We just need to all get together as a community and just realize that, these things happen, and we need to help the people that, risk their lives to save us, save our whole country on a daily basis.
Hannah Christensen finished just 9 seconds behind Smith, and the first male to cross the finish line was Michael Stolnicki of Clarkston.
I think it's a great cause. I think, remembering someone that ran with full pack, on their, when they saw the need is outstanding, and I think that's a worthy cause.
Eric Snyder, who works dispatch for the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, is one of 2 local participants who will travel to New York on September 30th. He told us he's grateful to those who came out to support the cause.
Well, I think like most Americans, I remember exactly where I was that day and exactly what happened. It also motivated me to join the service after high school. And I'll be remembering a lot of the police officers, firefighters, and on top of that, the soldiers, Marines, and sailors that served in Iraq and lost their lives as well.
It was a very impactful day, certainly to remember those who were lost with ties to Michigan and those who were lost across the country, but also to remember that there's brave men and women out there every day who put their lives on the line for us here in Lake Orion, Detroit, New York City, across the world serving in the military. And we want to celebrate that bravery and that heroism, because at any time these first responders don't know what they're going to be called for, and that was certainly on display September 11th.
Again, the Tunnel to Towers run will take place in New York on Sunday, September 30th, and will benefit the Stephen Siller Foundation. More than 20,000 participants are expected to attend. For more information, visit www.tunneltotowersrun.org. From Civic Center Park, this is Joe Johnson reporting for ONTV News.
Thank you, Joe, for that report. Carpenter Elementary held their annual Fun Run on Friday, August 7th. The Fun Run is traditionally run in the spring, but was moved to the fall for the 2012-2013 school year. The move would allow the PTC to have funds in hand before they schedule assemblies, field trips, and other events. All Carpenter students take part in the fundraising event. Students collect pledges for how many laps they can run during a 20-minute period. Runners are given a rubber band for each lap completed. Water and encouragement are given out by parent volunteers and staff. The Fun Run is a tradition that brings in between $12,000 to $15,000 for the Carpenter PTC, which breaks down to roughly $50 per student. The water level on Lake Orion continues to decrease as the drawdown continues. The village will remove a total of 36 inches from the lake, which will allow residents to fix their seawalls if necessary, and also make it possible to inspect the dam. Boat owners may need to get their boat off the water if they haven't already. The loss of water may cause them to not be able to move their boats until the lake is refilled. The drawdown began September 10th and will continue until they refill the lake on November 12th. We're going to step aside for a moment, but when we return, Kayla Brandon will have a special report on Barn Days. You're watching ONTV News. Stay tuned.
We want a Habitat home.
I love working on my Habitat home.
Soy dueño de una casa de Habitat.
My neighbor is a Habitat homeowner.
Being a Habitat homeowner has changed our lives.
My mortgage payment for Habitat is less than what I paid for rent.
Habitat for Humanity of Oakland County currently has homes available with mortgage payments lower than most rent payments. If you or someone you know needs decent and affordable housing, call 248-338-1843 or visit our website at habitatoakland.org.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
Welcome back to ONTV News. I'm Ian Locke. Well, the kids are back at school, and in some parts of Lake Orion, the leaves have begun to change color. Yes, fall will officially arrive on September 22nd. To usher in the fall season, Orion Township hosts an annual event that has grown quite popular with area families. Kayla Brandon was at Friendship Park during Barn Days and brings us this report.
In September of 2000, Volunteers from all over the community came together for an old-fashioned barn raising. Historic Porritt Barn was relocated to Friendship Park, and Barn Days is an annual celebration of this unique piece of Orion history. On Saturday, September 8th, area families were invited to Friendship Park once again to enjoy the sights and sounds of fall.
It started out as a celebration of the barn, Porritt Barn, that was moved to the park probably about 10 or 12 years ago. And since that time, we've been having a fall celebration in September of every year. It used to be in October, now it's in September. So we're really lucky. We have a great day today. Lots of people have been coming through. We have all kinds of activities that are from a petting zoo to inflatables and bounce houses. We've got a lot of different nonprofit groups that come in and promote their different nonprofits. And then we have just lots of food activities, lots of fun in the park.
One of the benefits of the event was that nonprofits who took part were allowed to raise funds for their own cause. Families paid an entrance fee of $5 upon arrival, but the money generated benefits Orion Township parks.
The money goes back to the parks themselves, so we would put it into either programming that takes place in the parks, it would go into activities that are offered, into equipment that we purchase in the park. So it all comes back into the park itself.
One of the highlights of Barn Days was a hayride that took passengers back in time to experience a skirmish between the North and South during a Civil War reenactment. Leo Tomaszewski, president of the 22nd Michigan Volunteer Infantry, told ONTV this was one of the many events the organization takes part in throughout the year.
Something like this, we were out here to do a living history, trying to instill in people historical aspects, not only of the state, but of our country. Kids aren't getting enough education in the history aspects, so we try to help them out a little bit along. So by doing a living history like this, little battle reenactments, I think we're sparking a little interest for the kids to learn a little bit more.
What's going on?
I'm here in front of Porritt Barn, the inspiration for Friendship Park's Barn Days, where people come to enjoy food, animals, and fun. My personal favorite was the Civil War reenactment, where actually I think I can still hear sounds of gunshot in the background. Reporting from Friendship Park, I'm Kayla Brandon with ONTV News.
Thanks, Kayla. Orion Township is hosting another major event on Saturday, September 15th. Residents are invited to visit Galling Buick GMC on Lapeer Road for the 6th annual Classic Car Show. The event begins at 9 a.m. and will offer food, beverages, music, a kids area, and a 50-50 raffle. If you have any questions, contact the Orion Center at 248-693-2066. The Michigan Humane Society and Detroit Zoological Society will be hosting the annual Meet Your Best Friend at the zoo on September 22nd and 23rd. Also in collaboration with the event are over 30 local animal welfare organizations. There will be hundreds of cats and dogs available for immediate adoption. The event will take place at the Detroit Zoo's front parking lot beneath the water tower and requires no payment for admission or parking for the event. All animals available for adoption have had the necessary medical checkups and vaccinations. There will also be an area for guests to get acquainted with the animals before adopting. However, for health and safety reasons, currently owned animals should not be brought to the event. Meet Your Best Friend at the Zoo takes place on September 22nd and 23rd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. To be eligible to adopt, all guests must bring a valid state ID or driver's license. For more information, visit DetroitZoo.org. A local student appeared before the Orion Township Board to petition for a skate park. 15-year-old Logan Kaiser took up skateboarding 4 years ago, but soon realized there is no legal place where he can go to practice and improve his skills. Logan showed up at the board meeting on September 4th with over 300 petitions to help his cause. Kaiser prepared price estimations for the project and suggested Friendship Park as a location. Using the Auburn Hills Skate Park as his reference, he estimated that the park would be built for a cost of roughly $200,000. If the board were to give their support, the next steps would be to figure out funding for the project. We're going to take another quick break, but when we return, we'll have updates on local sports. You're watching ONTV News. Stay tuned.
We want a Habitat home.
I love working on my Habitat home.
Soy dueño de una casa de hábitat.
My neighbor is a Habitat homeowner.
Being a Habitat homeowner has changed our lives.
My mortgage payment for Habitat is less than what I pay for rent.
Habitat for Humanity of Oakland County currently has homes available with mortgage payments lower than most rent payments. If you or someone you know needs decent and affordable housing, call 248-338-1843 or visit our website at habitatoakland.org.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
Welcome back to ONTV News. I'm Ian Locke. We now turn our attention to local sports. We begin with football. After a blowout win over Troy Athens at Ford Field, Lake Orion stayed a little closer to home this week, traveling to West Bloomfield to face a 1-1 Lakers team. Just like the previous game, Lake Orion came out firing on all cylinders. Lake Orion scored 3 rushing touchdowns in the first quarter and added a touchdown through the air from Derek DeLora to Chaz Miller. Christopher Lay ran in a 6-yard TD run in the second quarter, resulting in a 35-0 halftime lead. Lay would score again in the third quarter, this time on a 4-yard run. West Bloomfield got on the board with 5 seconds left in the game, thanks to a 1-yard TD run by quarterback Chance Monarch. Lake Orion improves their record to 3-0 and 2-0 in the OAA Red. West Bloomfield falls to 1-2 on the season and 0-2 in the Red Division. Lake Orion is tied with Clarkston for first place in the Red. They meet up in Week 8 at Dragons Stadium. This Friday, September 14th, the Dragons will be at home in an important OAA Red Division matchup against the 2-1 Stony Creek Cougars. ONTV will be on hand to cover all of the action. You can catch replays of the game beginning Tuesday, September 18th at 7 p.m., Comcast Channel 10 and UVerse Channel 99. You can also catch the game in its entirety on our YouTube channel. Visit us at orionontv.org and click on the YouTube link. And now on to high school soccer. After starting the season 0-4, the Dragons have mustered 2 straight wins, the latest coming against Royal Oak on August 7th. The Dragons' Alan Kipp and Justin Anderson notched a goal and an assist apiece to lead Lake Orion, who sits at 2-4-2 now on the season, 1-2-0 in the OAA. Brandon Ruse also scored for the Dragons, and Thalen made 5 saves for the winning Dragons. Kenny Vincent tallied 1 goal for Royal Oak, who sits at 2-8 on the season and 0-3 in division play. The Lady Lobos U10 Red travel soccer team was on the road for a MYSL League match against the Hawks from Romeo on Saturday, September 8th. The Lady Lobos got off to a quick start, taking a 1-0 lead about 5 minutes into the match, and would take a 2-1 lead into halftime. The Lady Lobos U10 Red would pour it on in the second half. Crisp passing saw breakaways galore, with the ball finding the back of the net time and again. The Lobos U10 Red team takes the win 7-1. The Lobos U10 Black team was in action on Sunday, September 9th. The Twilight game saw the U10 Tri Football Club from Troy pressure the U10 Black team. The U10 Black would get on the board first, quickly followed with a second tally. The Tri would find the net before half. Lobos up 2-1. The second half saw some exciting offensive chances for both teams. The Lobos would wear down the Tri in the end, tallying 2 goals in the second. Lobos U10 Black takes the win 4-1. That's it for this edition of ONTV News. Remember, you can catch this and past episodes of ONTV News by visiting our YouTube page. Head on over to orionontv.org and click on the YouTube link in the upper left-hand corner. For the entire crew at ONTV, I'm Ian Locke, and thank you for watching.